What time is it? It's Packard Folks at time. Hat? Check. Shirt? Check. Pants? Optional. Mug? Double check. Check us out at cafepress.com/PackardPokesat where you can get all this great merchandise and more.
Do you like Packard Pokesat and want to hear it on demand and on the go? Download the free app today at Stitcher.com. Available on iOS, Android, Nook, and iPad.
This is Packard Pokesat, and I'm poking at your news. Hello, everybody. This is Packard Pokesat, the midweek show. This is season 6, episode 17. Did everybody have a nice Halloween?
Oh, I had a great Halloween.
Cool. Matt, did you have a awesome Halloween?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Hey, Atheist Ranger, you have a story for us, don't you?
Yeah, I've got a few here. The first one is a 96-year-old priest showed child porn to visitors to his retirement home.
You know, every time I go to a retirement home, that's the first thing I look for is scantily clad people.
Yeah. Retired New York priest Monsignor Harry Byrne faces 54 charges of possessing photographs on his computers of girls 8 to 14 years old, performing sex acts with men, or posing naked, according to the Bronx District Attorney Darcel Clark.
Showing porn is one thing, but child porn is a whole other issue. I mean, this guy, he's in a nursing home already, so he's already kind of locked up, but he needs to be locked up even more, I think.
Yeah, the New York Daily News reported yesterday that Byrne, who railed against the Catholic Church horrific mishandling of the pedophile priest crisis in 2010, is alleged to have shown dozens of images to visitors who came to his room at the St. Vianney's Center of Retired Priests.
The St. John Vianney Center of Retired Priests. That's ironic.
Yeah.
That's ironic. He's like, you're not doing enough to chop child porn. You know what? I wonder what this child porn's all about. I think I'm going to check it out.
Why does this turn on so many of my brothers? Let me find out myself.
Oh, no, that's just gross. Gross.
An investigation of Byrne began 5 months ago following complaints from the home, officials said.
Wait. It took him 5 months to start an investigation? There's some class grade A privilege. Wow. Just wow.
He faced 37 charges of possessing a sexual performance by a child and another 37 of possessing an obscene sexual performance of a child.
Yep.
If convicted, Byrne faces up to 4 years in prison.
That's it? 4 years?
Just getting 4 years for that?
Yeah, well, yep.
They probably looked at his age, and the guy is like 1,000 years old.
Well, that's true, but still.
Yeah, well, his defense attorney, Marvin Raskin, said this to say, quote, Monsignor Byrne has dedicated 72 years to charity and church with an unsullied history. It is difficult to imagine at age 96 he knowingly understood and is responsible for the content of the subjects on the computer accessible to numerous people.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
There it is. Oh, other people had access to the computer. Maybe he didn't put it on there. He didn't know what it was.
Oh, man.
Jeez, that's just horrible.
Hey, I mean, at least you didn't get that one random person that the news always gets to and is like, oh, well, we're so shocked that this happened. Yeah.
But he was such a good man. He was so quiet, kept to himself.
Yeah. Let's see. We got another one here. Vicious Christian mom jailed for attack on daughter. Rhonda Schaffner, 41, a Pennsylvania woman who beat and tried to strangle her daughter for incorrectly reciting Bible verses, has been sentenced to prison. According to this report, she was sentenced last Wednesday to 30 months to 5 years in prison after pleading guilty to charges including aggravated assault on her daughter, who was younger than 13.
But remember, Christians are so loving and they're so forgiving.
Yeah, and they had the moral high ground over us evil atheists.
Us evil atheists are always beating our children when they don't remember a Bible verse. I'm looking at this picture of this lady. She looks like annoyed. Like, what you arrested me for? Like, I have every right to beat my child almost to death because they don't remember Bible verses.
I'm not gonna lie. She has that. She definitely looks like someone who's gonna be on the Moy show in like 5 years.
Yeah.
Anyhow, the police say that The girl was forced to kneel on the bathroom floor at Schofner's Middletown home and repeat Bible verses. They say Schofner slammed her head into the wall each time she made a mistake. They said Schofner also told the child she was going to kill her and attempted to strangle her.
It sounds so familiar, like we've covered this story before.
I think we have. I believe this is just an updated version of it.
Maybe.
No, actually, that one was at a beach.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, no, you're right. That one was at a beach. But I could have swore I remember a story very similar to this. But yeah, but I remember the one at the beach too. Yeah, that was a different story altogether. But dang.
Well, I mean, we hear about this kind of stuff every week, so it's bound to sound similar.
Yeah, that's true.
True that. Yeah. And Christians are always going off, well, why are you attacking us? Those Muslims over there, they're doing bad stuff because their kids can't remember the Quran, and we've covered those stories too.
Yeah.
So how's this woman any different from someone that's over and that's a Muslim? I mean, really?
Oh man, I love these comments.
Poor child. It's chilling to imagine the terror and pain she must have suffered. All the incorrectly recited nonsense believed by an ignorant and unbalanced mother, brainwashed by religion as God's truth. And that's basically it, you know. Oh, and this one here is a couple ones down here. It says, I'm surprised the Christian Legal Center hasn't taken up her cause. I mean, they're always up in arms about Christians being persecuted. Or am I getting something mixed up here? I think they're right on at that moment. So, Matt, you have a story for us, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Well, what's your story, Matt?
Okay, there were two women who were lost at sea since the beginning of May, and now claims of huge questions surrounding their story.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Appel and Tasha Fueva, who both live in Hawaii, and their two dogs were rescued last Wednesday by the crew of the USS Ashland after being spotted the day before by a Taiwanese fishing vessel 900 miles southeast of Japan. The two were set for Tahiti from Oahu, Hawaii on May 3rd, a trip that would take a few weeks. The stranded mariners claim their tale of woe began on that first day when they were battered by what Appel told the Associated Press on Friday, a Force 11 storm, damaging the boat's rigging and mast. Honolulu meteorologist Norman Hawaii?
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
However, told CNN that there were no organized storm systems near the Hawaiian Islands on the dates of May 3rd, 2017, or the few days afterward.
Oops. That sounds fishy.
Yeah, very fishy. But I'm bumped.
Yeah. You know, they're out in the water, fish. Never mind.
Yeah, fishy.
Anyway.
CNN contacted Appel and Fueva about the discrepancy, but as of Tuesday afternoon, they have not responded. A little strange.
Yes.
The woman encountered another storm in late May that killed the boat's engine, according to the AP. Still, they continued to sail. They told the AP they had radios, satellite phones, GPS, and other emergency gear, but all those devices went on the fritz all around the same time.
Okay, I got to stop you there real quick, because the fact is that's a big red flag for me. I mean, I deal with technology a lot as it is, but the fact is that have all those things go out on the fritz at the same time, I find a little suspicious. I mean, if you think about it, I do know that they're on a boat, okay? If one of these items had gotten wet and damaged, I could see why they would be having issues. Maybe the fact is that maybe water got inside there and everything got wet all at the same time, which would be very unusual, to say the least, that you would keep everything in the area where water would be able to get in. But apparently they said they were still floating. So I don't think that they had that much storm damage. And you just said that there was no storms. So to have everything go out all at once, I find a little suspicious.
Yeah, I find that very suspicious.
Dun, dun, dun. It's like a soap opera.
Yeah.
God. Anyways, there's something very wrong here, Johnson told the AP. I've never heard of all that stuff going out at the same time.
Gee, wonder where I just heard that from.
I don't know. One rescue device that did work may have been the most important of all, the emergency positioning indicating radio beacon. The alert sends a signal or location to rescuers within minutes and can be activated either manually or automatically. Appel confirmed on Tuesday to the AP that the boat had the beacon, but they decided not to use it because they didn't feel they were in imminent physical danger.
Yeah, your boat is stranded. You don't necessarily need to have it be in imminent danger. If your engine's out and all your GPS and stuff is not working, why risk it? You know, why risk it? It's like, okay, all of our equipment is busted here. Let's get some help out here.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know how long it's going to take for someone to find them.
Yeah, I mean, they could be out there for a year or years.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about years, but they
Wow,
could
about
certainly be out
years.
there for quite a while.
Well, eventually something's going to happen. You
Mhm.
know,
They could be
they
out
wash
there
up
till
ashore in some, deserted island or something like Gilligan's Island.
You know the funny story about Gilligan's Island, and this is absolutely true, is that when the TV show was taking place, people would literally write into the Coast Guard all the time and say, "Here, these people are on this island, and you got to find them." Seriously, that happened. The Coast Guard was literally flooded with letters from people that were worried about their safety.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a
sounds
TV
hilarious.
show.
You're right. It is a TV show. Some people don't realize that. Some people look at that and they go, "Wow, that must be going on. Why don't they get out there and help those people? They're obviously got cameras on them."
Oh my God.
Yeah. On a side related story, they're going to try it again. So
Well, I don't know. I mean, if you read the comments here, it's kind of like, says one of them, the only thing missing from their story is Gilligan.
yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have another story?
I do. This is from around your neck of the woods.
Oh, right. My neck of the woods. I love stories from my neck of the woods.
Oh, you're gonna like this one.
All right.
A mother in Wisconsin is facing a felony charge of recklessly endangering safety after she allegedly strapped her 9-year-old son to the top of the minivan that was on top of a plastic pool. It gets interesting. Amber Schmunk, that's a weird last name.
Schmunk.
Monk
Yeah.
of Fredonia was charged earlier this month for the September 9th incident, which started off officers receiving a call reporting a child on top of a vehicle holding down a plastic pool, according to the Ozaki Press.
Okay, I got to say something. I would say this to my kids occasionally. I said, we don't have enough room for something, or we go somewhere. We have to bring back a bunch of stuff or whatever. We have to make sure everybody fits inside here, the car, along with all this stuff. And since there's no way to strap all the rest of that stuff to the top, one of you guys is going to have to ride on the roof. And I say this to them jokingly. I would never actually put my child, or anybody else for that matter, on the roof of the car.
No.
But somebody took that joke quite literally.
I said it gets a little weird. Let me read on.
Sure.
Anyways, a witness reported seeing Schmunk pull over and take the child off the minivan roof and wedge the pool inside the vehicle before dropping it off at her sister's house.
If you could have wedged it inside the car, I think when she took the child off the top and wedged it in, I think she then she had a moment of clarity of, wait a minute, what am I doing? My child is up on the roof of the car. If I have to stop suddenly, they're going to go flying.
Well, no, she strapped the child to this plastic pool.
Right. I'm saying, but I mean, but according to her, she said it was only for a short time. I'm just kind of skipping ahead here. If it was only 20 or 30 seconds. So I think in that moment, she had a moment of clarity. It's like, what am I actually doing? I'm going to try to put my child and the pool inside the car anyway.
Yeah. Well, she should have done that to begin with.
Exactly. Mother of the Year award.
Yeah.
It's like some redneck BS.
Well, yeah. Well, those people in Wisconsin, they're strange.
Like something you've seen on a Larry the Cable Guy movie.
I'm sorry. I'm a bad representation of this state, apparently.
Of course, you're an atheist.
Yes. Well, I'm odd. I'm not that odd. I know.
I'm odd, but I wasn't saying you. I was just saying that, it's just, it could happen in any state. It doesn't matter what state you're in.
That's very true.
It's the matter of what you got upstairs is what counts.
Yeah. I do like the fact as it says here that she could face up to 5 years in prison and 5 years of extended supervision. Lady, why? I know you probably got the pool on sale, but you don't strap your child to the roof of a vehicle. Although I will say, a number of years ago, there was a guy who had a fake model, looked like a real person, and it had it strapped to the roof of the car, or roof of the van or whatever, and it made it look like the guy was like freaking out because the eyes and everything are like, like that. And it had real hair, hair-like stuff on there, and it had clothes on and everything like that. And people were calling it in, and they were filming this from a chase car, I guess. And apparently they got pulled over a number of times, and even the cop says, do you have do you have a permit to be doing this? Because, that's obviously it's a fake, but you don't normally have to have a permit to have stuff on top of your car. But I mean, if it looks like a person, I don't know. It says you're going to be causing public outcry. I think that, they probably would want you to have some kind of permit or something, something like that. Although that reminds me, a number of years ago, I used to live in the city of Madison, and they had a billboard. They had a fake person. Looked like they were out changing the billboard, but it was a publicity stunt by a GTE was changing over to AT&T or some other nonsense, or Sprint or whatever it was at the time. And because the changeover was going to be happening over a course of a few weeks, and the billboards rents out generally by the month, they had it look like a person was gradually changing the poster board over that period of time. And people were calling in to the company and saying, these people up there on the board, they're working way too hard. They're up there day and night. And it's the same guy, day and night, day and night. And this isn't on TV. It's not like the Gilligan Island thing. This is on, real life. And it's like, oh yeah, you drive by. It's like, oh yeah. First you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, that's obviously looks like someone's out there, but they're not moving. So like you just look at it just for a few seconds longer. It's like, oh, it's a mannequin, and you just go on with your day. Some people thought it was a real guy, and they just kept calling the place over it. So I don't know. People are weird.
There's some comments here.
Sure.
She obviously understood the meaning of a carpool.
Yeah, that's definitely not the idea of a carpool.
Yeah.
No, there was another comment. It says someone ever remember riding the back of a pickup truck. And I remember doing that. I remember actually standing up, while the truck is traveling down the road at fairly high speeds between 30 and 40 miles an hour. When it hits the highway, then you have to stay sitting down. But I mean, could you imagine? That's all it takes is one good bump, and that child would have been all over the pavement.
Yeah.
And even 20 to 30 seconds is 20, 30 seconds too long. An accident can happen like that in a second. Just strange people.
While we are poking at your news, you can poke us at Facebook and Twitter, or poke us with an email at ppapodcast@gmail.com, or leave us a message at 662-709-PPAP. Join us live on YouTube/Packard Pokesat on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Time. Be part of the conversation by live chatting with us during the show. Enjoy the show? Help support us by becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/Packard Pokesat. Or look awesome by buying something at cafepress.com/Packard Pokesat. No money, no problem. You can help us by sharing the show with friends and rate us on iTunes and Stitcher. For everyone that shares and rates us, you kick ass.
The Atheists,
the Bible,
and No Wardrobe, the podcast.
Wait a minute. No wardrobe? You mean we're going to be naked while we do this?
Well, seeing how I'm an atheist and I'm reading the Bible, and since clothes are flammable, fire, I thought it might be a good idea to take them all off first.
Naked or not, follow along as we read, analyze, and try to keep you from falling asleep as we go through this boring-ass book.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. Who knows? We may even be on YouTube someday. Well, I got some good news amongst all this craziness. Now, apparently the articles to impeach Trump have been filed by multiple House members, and hopefully they will be all in by Thanksgiving. So we're getting Christmas early this year, folks. It appears that the more likely the Trump campaign did seek to collude with Russia, that at the very least, many Republicans have become silent when it comes to the Mueller probe. Meanwhile, Democrats have been more outspoken, pointing out the evidence that already been made public, showing that the senior campaign advisors gave the go-ahead for campaign officials to meet and to talk to Russian officials prior to the election on November of last year. There have been articles of impeachment put against Trump individually, but this will be the very first coordinated effort by multiple members of Congress. Representative Al Green filed his own articles back at the beginning of the month, while Representatives Steve Cohen and Brad Sherman have also introduced their such articles earlier this year. While this by no means indicates that Trump will be impeached, especially given that the fact that the House of Representatives is still tilted greatly in favor of Republicans, it is a start of a concerted effort to try and remove the president from office. So it's a good start. It's like you're starting to push the boulder downhill. It's a big boulder. So it doesn't gather momentum yet. You have to keep rolling it until you get right to the right part of the slope where it's going to start, where that inertia is going to catch it on its own and then take it the rest of the way down the hill on its own. This is no different. There's some people who've been pushing on the boulder a little at a time, and they're just waiting until they get to the edge of that cliff, and it's going to fall off eventually. And that thing's going to go tumbling, and Trump's going to go after.
Considering who's next in line if he does get impeached, it's not like we have anything to look forward to.
Yeah, well, that's true. I was thinking about that, though. And if Trump gets impeached because of collusion with Russia, and we've talked about this a few weeks ago, that Hillary Clinton may challenge the election at that point. And if she does, then it's possible that if Pence becomes the president for whatever amount of time that he's in there, if there's proves that he's in collusion with this, then I said it before that there's a possibility that they might challenge it. And if they do challenge it, then I could see a whole sweeping of Hillary Clinton getting in there with their own personnel, even if it's just for the final 2 years or whatever.
I don't think that'll happen.
It's a long shot. I admit it's a long shot.
I remember last year somebody did a video saying that if there was a possibility that Hillary Clinton would, like, if she won the election and then she got indicted over that email thing or whatnot, that Obama would have had a third term in office.
No, that would never have happened. That would never have happened. Whoever said that was not thinking, or
I didn't believe it, but
yeah, that's because it's absurdly wrong. All right, let's just say, for example, that Clinton and whoever her running mate was got into office. If they had decided to indict her on the email scandal, which wasn't a scandal, it's something they trumped up. See, you see what I did there? But then the person that she had as her vice president would have become president at that point because he wasn't directly involved in the scandal. It would have just been her. In this instance, it's quite possible that Pence was involved as well. So they would both be out at that point. So now, like I said, I don't know if Hillary Clinton would be able to challenge it far enough into it to where she would be installed, or would they put in Lion Ryan to take over the last of the terms? Because if the president and the VP become unavailable randomly, suddenly, then the Speaker of the House, who is Lion Ryan, who would become technically president at that time, until such time there's a new vote or whatever at that point.
Right. He would be the next in line if the other two weren't available.
Right, exactly. So whoever said that somebody else was going to get in there because other than the VP that was with her would have gotten into the presidency didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have another story here. We have another pastor that's in the news. Big shocker. But this time he wasn't he's also going to jail, but not for what you think. Now, this New Jersey pastor was sentenced to 5 years for a Bitcoin exchange scheme. Now, he was illegally helping Bitcoin exchange escape scrutiny from banks and regulators because it's the Christian thing to do. Trenton Gross, what he did was gross too. Trenton Gross, age 47, was sentenced on Monday by U.S. District Judge Allison Nathan in Manhattan, who ordered him to pay a $1,200 fine. No, not $1,200, $12,000 fine, excuse me. A U.S. prosecutor said the lawyer for Gross could not be immediately reached for comment. The Bitcoin exchange involved a case of Coin.mx was linked to investigation of a data breach that JP Morgan Chase and Company revealed back in 2014 that exposed more than 83 million accounts. Gross was convicted by a jury in March along with Yuri Lebivdev, whatever that is, a Florida software engineer. Prosecutors charged that Gross took bribes from Lebediev. That sounds like a totally made-up name. And the operator of Coin.mx, Anthony Mergoa, whatever his name is, including $150,000 in donations to his church. You got money coming in. We're going to make a very large donation to your church. Can you, hide us from the feds for a while? With that kind of money, I hide you in my personal basement. The donations of a church, Hope Cathedral in Jackson, New Jersey. In exchange, they said Gross helped Mergo take over a small credit union associated with the church. Why are credit associations and churches getting in bed with each other? We've covered stories about pastors putting subways and restaurants in their churches to gain more attendance. But a bank, really? Is that a thing now? Is that a thing?
I guess.
Margot used the credit union to evade scrutiny of banks wary of processing payments, including virtual currency, prosecutors said. Levdeb, who was accused of working for Coin.mx through the Front Collectibles Club, was sentenced to 16 months earlier this month. Murgo, I'm going to just call him Murgo, pleaded guilty in January and in June was sentenced to 5.5 years in prison in June. Yeah, don't mess with money. If you start messing with money, especially with the government, you're going down. You're going downtown, son. Now, they were not accused of hijacking, but prosecutors say that Coin.mx was owned by an Israeli. Oh, there you go. Gary Shalon, who was behind the JP Morgan hack. Okay, so the hack came in from someone from Israel. That's great. Prosecutors have said Shalon, together with Maryland-born Joshua Samuel Aaron, the guy's got 3 names. No wonder he's in bed with him. He's got 3 names. That has nothing to do with anything. I'm just making a joke. Orchestrated cyber attacks that resulted in the theft of information from more than 100 million people. Prosecutors said that they carried out the hacks to further other schemes with another Israeli, Zev Orenstein, including pumping up stock prices with promotional emails. They pleaded not guilty to criminal charges. Of course. I just can't. I don't understand these people. Now, the one comment here says, greed. A pastor gets tax exemptions and a hypocrite fell to temptation to greedy further his acclamation of money illegally after convincing his followers he was a man of God. What a loser. Hope he enjoys prison. He certainly worked to make it his own reality. So, although somebody also had put on here, not making the church look very good there, pastor, quote unquote.
Yeah.
They don't need his help. They're just doing fine by making the church look good all by themselves.
Yeah, I think if churches would open up banks, that'd be rather human.
If churches opened up banks, it's bad enough that they already hide their finances from the government as it is, because they don't have to declare anything, and they should. They really should. They're what they bring in, everything should be open to the IRS.
Right. I agree.
Anyway, we got to get out of here. If you would like to make a donation to the show, go to paypal.me/PackardPokesat, where you can make a donation for $1 or more directly to me, and I will get the money directly. Or you can go to patreon.com/PackardPokesat, and you can make a per episode donation for as little as $1 per episode. We'll be back on Friday at 9 p.m. Central Time. And a quick programming note, starting this week, all the shows will be truncated to 30 minutes due to my limited time availability. So the shows will probably be out on, once they're edited and cleaned up, probably out on Sunday or very late on Saturday night for the Friday shows. So expect a 30-minute show for the next few months, unless other things happen I've got in the works, in which case that may not be a thing, and we probably go back to an hour-long show after that. And I will keep you up to date on that as much as I know right now. So, but for right now, the shows will be at 30 minutes for the Friday show. So come to the live show then and comment with us as well. So we'll see you on Friday at 9 p.m. Central Time. Just look for Chicago, and that's the time you need to be at. So we'll see you then. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
And that's a wrap.